The stars glimmered like scattered jewels across the endless black sky. Captain Mira Thorne leaned against the observation panel of the human starship Aurora, watching the glowing planet slowly rotate below. This was Vorin, the homeworld of a civilization humans had never met before. Its cities floated among the clouds, towers of light drifting above luminescent forests. Rivers of golden energy snaked across the landscape, illuminating the forests and mountains in surreal patterns. Mira felt her heart quicken. "This is it," she said softly, her voice barely louder than a whisper. "Our first contact with an alien race." Beside her, Lieutenant Arik Patel adjusted the ship's scanners. Sensors show no signs of hostile activity. The Vorin are technologically advanced, but they seem peaceful. Mira nodded. "Peaceful or not, we need to be careful. We represent humanity. One wrong move and first impressions are ruined." The ship shuddered as it entered the planet's atmosphere. Outside, they could see the floating city of Zalar rising above the glowing forests like a crown of light. Towers shimmered in soft blues and greens, connected by thin bridges of energy that pulsed like veins. Humans had never seen anything like it. Even the best simulations couldn't match the real view. The landing pad hovered over a clearing stabilized by anti-gravity fields. As the Aurora descended, figures began to appear on the platform. Tall, slender beings with smooth silver skin that reflected the light around them. Their faces were delicate, almost translucent, with large violet eyes that seemed to hold a quiet curiosity. "Prepare for reception," Mira ordered. "Let's show them we're friendly." The doors opened and a group of Vorin officials approached. Their leader, taller than the rest, stepped forward. She bowed slightly and her voice sounded musical in their ears. "Welcome, humans. I am Leora, emissary of Zalar. We have observed your approach. Your arrival is unexpected." Mira returned the bow, smiling warmly. "I am Captain Mira Thorne, and this is my crew. We come in peace to learn and to share knowledge." The Vorin studied them closely, their eyes moving over the humans' uniforms, their tools, and even the expressions on their faces. There was a faint murmur among the alien officials. Mira noticed the subtle gestures of astonishment. "Your species," Leora said slowly, "does not match the descriptions we had in our records. You are resilient and yet delicate, agile yet cautious. We expected something different." Mira's lips curved into a small, proud smile. Humans were known across the galaxy for their unpredictability, adaptability, and ingenuity. She suspected this reaction was the first taste of astonishment they would receive. As the humans stepped onto the landing platform, their boots barely making a sound on the energy field, they began to explore their surroundings. The floating city shimmered under the twin suns, casting long, colorful shadows across the transparent walkways. The air smelled sweet, like crushed flowers and warm metal, and the gentle hum of energy flowing through the bridges resonated like music in the human ears. One of the crew, Engineer Hana Lee, couldn't hide her fascination. "This energy grid," she whispered to Arik. "It's unlike anything we've seen. They're harnessing natural currents in the atmosphere directly." "It's beautiful," Arik nodded. "Yes, but it also looks fragile. One misstep and—" "Don't worry," Hana interrupted. "We'll figure out how it works safely." As they walked deeper into the city, they passed small gardens floating in midair, where plants with luminous leaves swayed gently. The Vorin moved around them gracefully, not stepping on any of the energy fields, their long fingers carefully avoiding the plants. Leora led them to a wide chamber made of clear material that reflected the light like a prism. Here, humans could see an entire segment of the floating city, its towers connected by energy bridges that pulsed rhythmically. A group of Vorin scholars hovered near the walls, observing with what seemed like polite curiosity. "We have heard of your medical technologies," one scholar said, her voice soft. "It is said humans can heal faster than your technology allows. Is this true?" Mira smiled. "We do have ways to assist and heal, yes. But we also believe in prevention and care through understanding. We are not perfect, but we try." The aliens nodded slowly, exchanging quiet words. Mira sensed their astonishment again. They had expected fragile beings, incapable of independent action in this world. Instead, they were met with humans who carried confidence, knowledge, and careful curiosity. After introductions, the Vorin invited them to a ceremonial dinner. Humans had never experienced anything quite like it. The tables floated, orbiting gently above the floor. Food glowed softly, changing colors as it moved. and the aroma was a mix of sweet and savory, unlike any human cuisine. As the humans tasted the dishes, Mira noticed something remarkable. The Vorin seemed genuinely curious, watching their reactions to textures, flavors, and combinations. The humans discussed the science behind each ingredient, the nutritional value, and even proposed small experiments to enhance growth cycles. Leora and the others listened, fascinated. "You think in ways we do not," Leora admitted, her voice almost reverent. "Your approach is only creative. It is as though your minds can see possibilities we cannot." Mira felt a quiet pride. Humanity had always been underestimated, yet their greatest strength was often overlooked. Imagination, ingenuity, and the courage to try the unexpected. After the meal, the humans were shown to their quarters. Each room was a floating capsule, suspended gently in midair, offering panoramic views of the forests below and the glowing towers above. Mira sat by the window looking at the stars. "Do you think they'll accept us?" Hana asked quietly, joining her. "They already do," Mira replied. "They're astonished, yes, but not afraid. That means we have a chance to build trust, and when trust grows, humans can accomplish anything." Outside, the twin suns dipped below the horizon, painting the floating city in shades of gold and violet. Lights turned on across the towers, and energy bridges glowed like rivers of light. Mira imagined the days ahead, exploration, discovery, and maybe even friendship between worlds. The morning sun rose over Vorin's floating city, casting golden light on the towers and energy bridges. Humans awoke in their floating quarters, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. Today they would explore the city more deeply, and perhaps leave the Vorin even more astonished than yesterday. Captain Mira Thorne gathered her crew in a wide observation chamber. "Today we'll walk among the Vorin citizens, see their technology up close, and learn how they live. Remember, we're here to observe, not to interfere, but at the same time, don't be afraid to share what humans can do. Sometimes a simple idea is more astonishing than complex technology." Lieutenant Arik Patel grinned. "So basically be humans." "Easy enough," Engineer Hana Lee chuckled. "Easy? You mean we get to show them our creative problem-solving skills and maybe blow their minds a little?" Mira smiled. "Exactly. Let's go." As the crew descended to the lower platforms, they noticed the Vorin citizens going about their daily routines. The aliens moved with graceful precision, adjusting floating bridges, tending to energy gardens, and guiding transport vehicles along invisible tracks. Humans watched quietly, studying their methods, noting how even the most advanced technology relied on delicate manual adjustments. Hana stepped forward first. She noticed a cluster of small energy conduits that were flickering unevenly, sending tiny sparks into the air. "Arik, look at this," she whispered. "They're stabilizing it manually, but there must be a more efficient way." Arik raised an eyebrow. "You mean like humans would do it?" Hana nodded. She produced a small tool from her belt, a device capable of scanning energy flows and redistributing currents automatically. The Vorin around her froze, their eyes widening as the device hummed softly and the sparks vanished. The conduit stabilized perfectly. One of the Vorin engineers approached cautiously. "Your method? It is astonishing. We have never considered such an approach. How does it work?" Hana smiled politely. "We observe, we experiment, and we adapt. Sometimes the simplest idea works best." The engineer nodded, and whispers of astonishment spread among the gathered Vorin. Humans were doing more than just observing. They were improving systems the aliens had considered flawless. Next, Captain Mira led the crew to a transport hub, where floating vehicles zipped along energy lanes above the city. A sudden traffic jam had formed when a vehicle's guidance system malfunctioned. The Vorin operators seemed unsure how to handle it, as the automated system had failed to adapt. Mira stepped forward. "Let me try." She calmly climbed into a nearby control station. Using a combination of manual overrides and intuition, she rerouted the vehicles, guiding them safely past each other. Within minutes, the traffic flowed smoothly again. The Vorin supervisors watched in awe. You solved it without relying solely on technology," one said. "It is unusual, astonishing." Mira nodded, keeping her tone modest. "Sometimes understanding the problem and reacting quickly is better than waiting for systems to adjust automatically." The crew moved on, exploring the floating gardens. These gardens were magnificent. Plants glowed in soft blues and purples, their roots suspended in air, feeding from energy streams. Humans were fascinated by how the Voron cultivated them, but they quickly realized some sections were struggling due to misaligned energy channels. Hana and Arik worked together, gently redirecting the energy flows, adjusting the channels without harming the delicate plants. The garden immediately thrived. Foreign gardeners hovered nearby, murmuring excitedly to each other. "It is as if they understand the city's energy in a way we do not," one gardener whispered. "Their intuition? It is extraordinary." Even simple human gestures seemed astonishing to the Voron. When Chef Leela, part of the human team, shared a method to preserve floating fruits for longer periods, the Voron scholars were amazed. They had relied on complex climate control systems for preservation, but a simple human technique using temperature cycles and natural energy harmonics worked better. By midday, the humans were invited to a lecture hall filled with curious foreign students and scholars. They had prepared demonstrations, showing how humans approached problem-solving, teamwork, and creative thinking. Mira began, speaking slowly so the translation systems could convey her words accurately. Humans face challenges in every environment. We use our creativity and flexibility to find solutions. Sometimes our tools are simple, but our thinking is adaptable. That is why humans can accomplish surprising things. She handed a device to a student. Try to stabilize these floating spheres. Observe, think, and act. The student hesitated, but with guidance, the spheres began to move in synchronized patterns. When the experiment ended successfully, the room erupted in applause. The Voron were clearly astonished by the human teaching style, interactive, adaptable, and encouraging rather than purely technical. After the lecture, Mira and her crew took a break near one of the floating plazas. Citizens of Zalar moved past, still glancing at the humans with curiosity and awe. "Do you think they expected this?" Hana asked. Arik shook his head. "I don't think anyone expected humans to handle their city better than they do themselves. It's astonishing to them, I guess." Mira nodded. "That's why we're here. Not to prove we're better, but to show that humans can inspire, solve problems, and cooperate in ways that even advanced civilizations might not anticipate." As the day continued, the humans were invited to assist in one of Voron's engineering projects. A section of the city's floating energy bridge needed reinforcement. The Voron engineers had planned to rebuild it entirely, a time-consuming and resource-heavy task. Captain Mira and her team proposed an alternative. Using a combination of human structural analysis and lightweight materials, they suggested a way to strengthen the bridge without reconstruction. At first, the Voron were skeptical. "Can your method really support the weight of the city above?" one engineer asked. Hana smiled. "We have to test, of course, but humans often find simpler, faster solutions that work in surprising ways." With cautious guidance from the Voron, the humans reinforced the bridge. Sensors lit up and readings showed it was stronger than ever. The engineers looked on in astonishment. "This is remarkable," the lead engineer said. "We have relied on rigid systems for centuries. Your flexibility, it is astonishing." By evening, the humans had participated in multiple projects, stabilizing energy conduits, improving transport, preserving gardens, and reinforcing infrastructure. Everywhere they went, the Voron watched in amazement. The humans were not just observers, they were partners thinking in ways the aliens had never considered. Captain Mira called her crew together as they returned to their quarters. "Today we made an impression," she said. "They are astonished not because of strength or technology, but because we think differently. That is humanity's gift." Hana stretched and laughed. "I think we also made some friends. They keep asking questions like kids in a classroom." "Yes," Mira agreed. "Curiosity is universal, but humans can channel curiosity into solutions, into action. That is why we are astonishing." As night fell over Zalar, the floating city sparkled under the twin moons. Humans looked out from their quarters, reflecting on the day's events. They realized that first impressions had already changed the Voron's perception of humanity, and in the quiet hum of the city's energy flows, the humans knew this was only the beginning. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, and with every challenge, their ingenuity would astonish the Voron further. Mira felt a surge of hope. Humanity was far from the most advanced species in the galaxy, yet their creativity, courage, and adaptability made them something special, something that no amount of technology alone could replicate. In the distance, a faint pulse of energy shifted across the city. signaling a new project, a new challenge, or perhaps the start of an unforeseen event. Mira didn't know what lay ahead, but she was certain of one thing. Humans had the power to inspire, to solve, and to astonish. The morning sky over Zaylor was bright, twin suns reflecting off the floating towers and energy bridges. Humans and Vorin alike began their daily routines, unaware that a new challenge was quietly forming above the city. In the upper atmosphere, a massive energy storm had begun to build. Twisting currents of charged particles swirled unnaturally, feeding on the city's floating energy conduits. The Vorin sensors detected it early, but the storm's intensity and speed exceeded all calculations. Panic rippled through the city as citizens were warned to seek shelter. Captain Mira Thorne and her crew were in the observation chamber when the alert sounded. The alarms were unlike anything they had ever experienced. Deep vibrations that resonated through the energy platforms, lights flickering, and the hum of power fluctuating dangerously. Mira's eyes narrowed. This isn't normal. Arik, Hana, prepare to move. We need to see what's happening on the city's bridges and energy systems. Arik nodded, checking the portable control interface in his hands. Sensors show energy surges along the main bridge networks. If it hits full capacity, floating platforms could fail. People could be trapped or worse, Hana frowned. The automated systems can't handle this. They're designed for regular fluctuations, not extreme events like this. We'll have to act manually. Mira turned to the team. Exactly. Let's move. We'll work with the Vorin, show them how humans adapt under pressure. When they arrived on the nearest energy bridge, the sight was alarming. Sparks flew from conduits, floating platforms wavered slightly, and the Vorin engineers struggled to maintain control. Their precise, delicate movements could only do so much. Leora appeared beside Mira, her violet eyes wide with concern. We have never seen a storm like this. Our systems cannot respond fast enough. Can your species help? Mira nodded calmly. We'll do everything we can, but we need cooperation. Humans and Vorin must work together. Hana knelt beside an energy conduit, scanning it with her portable analyzer. These channels are overloaded. If we redistribute energy manually, we can stabilize the platforms temporarily, but we'll need continuous adjustments. A Vorin engineer hovered nervously. You mean, touch the conduits directly? That is dangerous. Mira smiled reassuringly. Humans take calculated risks. But yes, we'll work directly with the system. Guide us where needed. With careful coordination, the humans began redirecting energy flows. Hana adjusted conduits with precision, while Arik monitored patterns from a portable interface. Mira communicated with Vorin engineers, pointing out areas of instability and suggesting flexible solutions rather than rigid protocols. The Vorin watched in astonishment. Humans were improvising under pressure, adapting to every change in the storm with calm efficiency. This is remarkable, one engineer whispered to a colleague. They do not panic. They think and act as the situation changes. But the storm was relentless. A surge of energy shot across the central bridge, forcing a platform to tilt dangerously. Citizens screamed, clinging to handrails as the bridge quivered. Mira acted instantly. She grabbed a control module and rerouted energy to counteract the surge. Simultaneously, Hana and Arik redirected backup currents. The platform leveled just in time, avoiding disaster. The Vorin onlookers gasped. How did you manage that? One asked. Mira shook her head with a small smile. We look at the problem, then we act. Flexibility and teamwork can overcome what technology alone cannot. As the storm intensified, the humans realized that conventional solutions were insufficient. The automated storm dampening systems were overloaded, and even the city's advanced energy grids were at risk. Mira called a quick meeting with Leora. We need to stabilize the storm at multiple points simultaneously. Humans can direct some energy flows manually, but we need your engineers to follow our approach at every node. Can you coordinate with us? Leora hesitated for a moment. It is unconventional, but yes, we will follow your instructions. Working together, humans and Vorin formed teams across the city. Humans demonstrated quick decision-making, adjusting conduits, redistributing energy, and reinforcing structural supports using lightweight human-designed stabilizers. Vorin engineers followed their lead, learning to act outside their standard protocols. Hana floated above the energy channels, hands steady as she redirected currents. Sparks flew, but she worked calmly, her mind racing to anticipate the storm's next move. Arik, I need a secondary flow here. Mira, the central platform is wobbling. What do you suggest? Mira's voice was firm. Divert auxiliary energy from the northern grid. Leora, have your team release excess power gradually. Timing is everything. Seconds felt like minutes. Sparks danced in the air. Energy bridges shivered and citizens watched from safe zones. Yet the humans never wavered. Their calm determination inspired the Vorin, who began acting with newfound confidence. For a moment it seemed as if the storm might overwhelm them. But the humans' ingenuity began to turn the tide. By adjusting energy channels in unexpected ways, the surges were absorbed, redirected, and balanced. The floating platform stabilized. Bridges held firm, and the storm's destructive force was contained, though it still raged above. Leora floated beside Mira, her voice trembling with awe. Your species. You face danger and adapt immediately. You are astonishing. Mira nodded, sweat on her brow. We have to adapt. That is how humans survive, thrive, and help others survive. It is not about being stronger, only about thinking differently. The storm finally began to weaken. The energy surges decreased, and the city system slowly returned to normal. Citizens emerged cautiously from shelters, looking at the humans with amazement and gratitude. A Vorin elder approached Mira. Your species. You did not panic. You acted with clarity, courage, and intelligence. We have observed many civilizations, but humans are extraordinary. You are not only survivors, but creators of solutions. Astonishing indeed. Mira allowed herself a brief smile. Thank you. But we could not have done it alone. Your cooperation made this possible. Together, humans and Vorin can achieve more than any one species could alone. As night fell over Zaylor, the energy storm dissipated into harmless currents of light. The city glowed softly under the twin moons, repaired and stable. Humans and Vorin alike reflected on the day's events. For the first time, the alien saw humans not as fragile beings, but as partners capable of quick thinking, creativity, and courage under pressure. Hana leaned on a railing, gazing at the repaired bridges. I can't believe how smoothly it worked. They actually followed our lead. Arik nodded, and they learned from it too. Humans can solve problems that technology alone cannot. That's what makes us astonishing. Mira looked out over the floating city. The citizens were repairing minor damage. Children played safely under the glow of energy gardens, and Vorin engineers discussed new designs inspired by human improvisation. The crew had not only stabilized the city, they had left a lasting impression. We've made a difference today, Mira said quietly. Not through force, not through technology, but through thinking, acting, and working together. That is humanity's greatest strength. As the humans returned to their quarters, the city's lights reflected in their eyes. The storm had been terrifying, but it had also revealed something deeper. Humans could astonish not with power, but with ingenuity, cooperation, and courage. The morning after the energy storm, Zaylar's floating city glowed under the twin suns like a jewel. Though the major damage had been contained, minor disruptions remained across the city. Trembling platforms, flickering energy conduits, and sections of floating gardens that required attention. Humans and Vorin gathered to work together, determined to restore full stability. Captain Mira Thorne stood on a central observation platform, her crew beside her. Yesterday we managed the storm. Today we finish the recovery and we'll show them how humans and Vorin can collaborate in ways no single species could. Arik Patel adjusted his interface. The city still has weak points. Some bridges have micro-fluctuations, and energy channels in the gardens are unstable. We need a coordinated approach. Hana Lee checked her portable analyzer. We can handle multiple sites at once, but we'll need Vorin engineers to follow our improvisation methods, not just their standard protocols. Leora approached, her violet eyes reflecting cautious excitement. We are ready. Your species teaches in a way unfamiliar to us but effective. We will follow your guidance, Mira nodded. Good, then let's begin. The team split up. Hana and a group of Vorin engineers went to the central energy bridge, the most critical link in the floating city. Sparks still flickered along some conduits, but Hana quickly assessed the problem. See these junctions? She said, pointing. The automated regulators are too slow for these minor fluctuations. If we manually adjust energy flow and balance the load across nearby channels, we can stabilize them completely. A Vorin engineer hesitated. Manual adjustment. It feels risky, Hana smiled. Calculated risk. Watch me first, then you try. She gently touched a conduit. Her hands glowed faintly from the energy interface as she redistributed the currents. Sparks vanished and the platform stopped trembling. The Voran engineers watched in astonishment. Slowly, they mirrored her movements, learning to respond dynamically rather than relying on rigid automation. Meanwhile, Captain Mira led a team to the floating gardens. Some sections had partially collapsed due to the storm's energy surge. Human ingenuity shone as they combined flexible stabilizers, lightweight supports, and precise energy redirection to save the delicate plants. One young Voran gardener hovered nervously. "Are you certain this will not harm the plants?" Mira knelt beside the fragile stems. "We adapt as we go. Watch the response and adjust slowly. That is how humans work with fragile systems." With careful hands and calm guidance, the team restored the gardens. The luminescent leaves shimmered once more, reflecting the awe of the watching Voran. At the same time, Arik and a group of engineers worked to reinforce secondary energy bridges. These were less critical than the main bridge, but vital for city stability. Arik introduced a method of dynamic energy balancing, which the Voran engineers had never considered. By distributing excess energy evenly across multiple nodes, Arik explained, we prevent overloads and reduce the risk of failure. The Voran applied the technique under his guidance. To their astonishment, the energy flow stabilized faster than expected, stronger than ever before. Throughout the day, humans and Voran continued collaborating. The process was not without small mistakes. Sparks flew, minor tremors shook platforms, and small failures occurred, but each time humans adapted instantly, finding new solutions and guiding the Voran through the corrections. From above, the city's energy grids pulsed in perfect harmony. Bridges hummed steadily and gardens floated gracefully once more. Citizens gathered to watch, murmuring among themselves. Children pointed at the humans with wide eyes, clearly amazed by their calm courage and creative thinking. At one point, a particularly unstable platform threatened to tip, putting several citizens at risk. Mira acted instantly. "Hana, redirect auxiliary energy." "Arik, stabilize the handrails. Everyone, follow my lead." The humans moved as one, demonstrating teamwork, improvisation, and precision. Within moments, the platform leveled. Citizens cheered, some in disbelief. Leora floated toward Mira, her expression filled with awe. "Your species. You do not rely on strength or power, yet you can overcome situations we cannot with our technology alone." "It is astonishing," Mira smiled. "That is what humans do. We observe, adapt, and act. Technology is only a tool. Our minds and cooperation are what solve problems." By afternoon, the floating city was almost fully restored. Bridges were stable, energy conduits balanced, and gardens glowing. Yet Mira knew that the storm's aftermath still held hidden risks. "Let's double-check every node," she said. "We need to ensure long-term stability. Humans anticipate problems before they happen, and we teach others to do the same." Together, the humans and Voran inspected every section of the city. They identified minor vulnerabilities, reinforced weak points, and even improved some systems beyond their original designs. Voran engineers were quick learners, eager to incorporate the humans' methods into their practices. A young Voran student approached Hana. "Your techniques, can they be applied to other cities?" Hana nodded. "Absolutely. Humans solve problems not just for one place, but for any environment. Our approach is flexible. It works anywhere you can think." The student's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Then humans are more than visitors. You are teachers, innovators, friends." Mira felt a warmth in her chest. This was why humans were astonishing, not because of brute force or superior technology, but because of their ability to inspire, collaborate, and create solutions where others saw only obstacles. By evening, the city had fully recovered. The citizens, engineers, and scholars gathered to honor the humans' efforts. There was no ceremony of grandeur, no fanfare of military might. Instead, it was a celebration of cooperation, ingenuity, and shared achievement. Leora addressed the crowd, her voice calm but full of admiration. "Humans have shown us a new way of thinking. Their courage, adaptability, and collaboration have saved our city. We are astonished not only by what they do, but by how they think." Captain Mira stepped forward, bowing slightly. "We are grateful for your trust. Humans do not act alone. Together we can accomplish things neither species could do by itself." The crowd erupted in applause. Voran citizens floated closer to the humans, curious and respectful. Children waved small energy devices in greeting. Engineers took notes, and scholars whispered excitedly to each other about the new methods they had learned. That night, as Mira and her crew returned to their quarters, the twin moons cast soft silver light across the floating city. The humans were tired but fulfilled. They had faced one of the greatest challenges of their mission, and had not only survived but strengthened the bond between humanity and the Vorin. Hana stretched, smiling. "I can't believe how smoothly it worked. We didn't just fix things, we taught them how to think differently." Arik nodded. "And they learned quickly. This will change their city forever, and their approach to future challenges." Mira looked out over the city, her eyes reflecting the lights below. This is what it means to astonish. Not with power, not with dominance, but with courage, intelligence, and the willingness to work together. That is humanity's gift. She thought of the days ahead. There would be more challenges, more discoveries, and perhaps dangers that humans could not yet see. But one thing was certain. The Vorin would never forget what humans could accomplish, and humans would continue to inspire wherever they went. As the city slept under the twin moons, Captain Mira reflected on the day's events. Humanity's true strength lay not in technology or physical ability, but in its adaptability, creativity, and cooperation. And in a universe full of surprises, those qualities were often the most astonishing of all. The stars above seemed brighter than ever, promising new adventures and challenges. And humanity, in its simple courage and ingenuity, was ready to meet them. The twin suns rose over Zaylor, bathing the floating city in a warm golden glow. The aftermath of the energy storm had left the city stronger and more resilient than ever. Humans and Vorin walked side by side along the bridges, gardens, and observation platforms, working together to refine systems and improve stability. The city hummed with life, alive in a way it had never been before. Captain Mira Thorne stood atop the central tower, looking down at the citizens below. Children played among the floating gardens, their laughter carried on the gentle currents of air. Engineers and scholars worked together to improve energy conduits, transport routes, and structural supports. Everywhere she looked, humans had left a mark, not in force, not in power, but in knowledge, guidance, and inspiration. Arik Patel floated beside her. "It's incredible," he said. "The city feels different, lighter, more alive, and it's all because we showed them a new way to think." Mira nodded. "It's not just about us fixing things. It's about showing them that problems can be solved with creativity, cooperation, and courage. That is humanity's gift." Hana Lee joined them, holding a small device she had designed to monitor energy flow in the gardens. "They've already started adapting some of our techniques. I saw engineers adjusting conduits in ways we didn't teach them, using the principles we showed them." "Exactly," Mira said. "They're learning not just the method, but the mindset. That's the true legacy of our work here." Later that morning, Leora approached the humans with a ceremonial smile. Her violet eyes sparkled with appreciation. "Captain Thorne, your species has changed Zaylor. Not by force, not by superior technology, but by your actions, your thinking, and your courage. You have left a mark on our civilization that will endure for generations." Mira inclined her head. "We came to learn as well as to share. Humanity believes that cooperation is more powerful than conflict. And when civilizations work together, astonishing things happen." Leora gestured toward the city below. "We wish for your people to help us plan for the future. There are areas of the city and forests yet unexplored, systems untested, and challenges we cannot anticipate. With your guidance, we can prepare for anything." Mira's eyes brightened. "We'd be honored. Humans are explorers at heart. We face the unknown, adapt, and find solutions. Together, we can achieve more than either species alone." Over the next few days, humans worked alongside Vorin engineers, scholars, and citizens to create improvements throughout Zaylor. They helped design flexible energy conduits that could adapt to sudden surges, floating bridges reinforced with lightweight supports, and gardens with self-regulating energy flow systems. Young Vorin students learned directly from humans, absorbing both techniques and philosophy. Humans taught them to think creatively, anticipate problems, and act decisively. By the end of the week, even the city's elder scholars were amazed at how much their civilization had advanced in such a short time. One evening, Mira stood with Arik and Hana on a high observation platform. Below them, the city glowed under the twin moons, floating gardens shimmering and energy bridges pulsing with harmony. Look at it, Arik said softly. It's perfect. They've taken our ideas and made them their own. Hana smiled. That's what makes humans, well, astonishing. We don't just solve problems. We inspire others to see possibilities they didn't know existed. Mira placed a hand on the railing, feeling the gentle hum of energy beneath her. This is the kind of impact we hope to leave everywhere we go, not by conquering but by teaching, inspiring, and cooperating. Humanity has a way of astonishing others, simply by being ourselves. The next day, the humans prepared to leave Zealar. Citizens and officials gathered on the central landing platform to bid them farewell. Children waved glowing flowers, engineers and scholars bowed, and Leora herself stepped forward. Captain Thorne, humans of the Aurora, she said, her voice filled with emotion, you have astonished us in ways we could never have imagined. You have shown courage, ingenuity, and kindness. You have taught us lessons that will guide Zealar for generations. You are not visitors, you are friends, partners, and teachers. Mira smiled warmly. We are grateful for your trust and friendship. Humans travel to learn as much as to teach. Today we leave, but the bond between our species will continue to grow. Together we can explore, discover, and face the unknown. As the humans boarded the Aurora, citizens cheered, some floating near the landing pad in amazement at the departing vessel. The twin suns reflected off the ship's hull, making it shine like a beacon of hope and curiosity. Once in orbit, Mira looked down at the city. We've done more than help a civilization recover from a storm, she said. We've shown them that thinking differently, working together, and trusting each other can accomplish astonishing things. Arik nodded. I think they'll never see humans the same way again. No, Mira agreed. And we've learned from them as well. Every civilization has something unique to teach. But humans leave a mark wherever we go, because of how we think and how we act. Hana looked at the vast expanse of stars ahead. So what's next? Another civilization, another adventure? Mira smiled. Yes, but wherever we go, the lesson remains the same. Humanity can astonish not by force but by courage, ingenuity, and cooperation. That is our legacy. As the Aurora sailed through the stars, leaving Zealar behind, Mira reflected on the journey. Humanity had once again proven its value. Not as conquerors, not as beings of brute strength, but as problem solvers, innovators, and friends. The Voran had been astonished, yes, but more importantly, they had learned to see the universe in a new way, inspired by the simple brilliance of human thinking. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of unknown worlds, challenges, and opportunities. Humanity would face them all with curiosity, creativity, and courage. And wherever humans went, civilizations would be astonished, not just by what they did, but by how they inspired those around them to think differently, act boldly, and believe in possibilities beyond imagination. The Aurora drifted silently into the blackness of space, carrying humans to new adventures. And Zealar, now a city stronger, wiser, and more innovative than ever, would remember the humans who had changed their world, not through power, but through astonishing ideas and cooperation. Mira looked out at the stars, a quiet determination in her eyes. Humanity's journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and wonders, and with courage, ingenuity, and collaboration, humans would continue to astonish civilizations, leaving a legacy that would echo across the stars for generations.